problem. Here's the fucking problem.
Go ahead.
This has been a fucking major issue in the NFL for 2 years now, all right? It started with Colin Kaepernick. If Drew Brees is just figuring out saying that shit's wrong yesterday after fucking Twitter told him, he's a fucking liar. And if you did just figure it out after 2 years being in the locker room with these guys, what the issue was and how they felt about it, then you're fucking retarded. There's just nothing else to say. And if you believe that shit, he just figured it out last night because Twitter got pissed off. But you didn't figure it out in 2 years when your teammates are telling you in the locker room, nonstop. I mean, we couldn't get away from it, let alone everybody else in the locker room or in the NFL. So that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I would say his apology rings pretty hollow because his opinion on these matters have been etched in stone previously. Like what he said in that interview, he said that before, after looking into it and reading other articles about it. And this is why I thought he would hold firm on what he said. This is just what he's said from the beginning. And so now I think the weight of what he said caught up to him. Because there are a few things that really land when we talk about social justice or racism or whatever category you want to put this in sports. Few things land. The last thing that landed like this was Donald Sterling. Now, Drew Brees is not Donald Sterling, but this got everybody fired up, whether it be teammates, whether it be players in your own league or players outside of your league. And not some guy you never heard of, not some guy commentating. LeBron James is talking about this guy. Chris Paul's talking about every person with an opinion or Twitter account of high profile is crushing this dude. Ed Reed literally called him a bitch. So when these guys are coming out and talking about you've hit a nerve and a really, really hard one for people to swallow this apology. Like, I don't think he's
John,
racist.
JB, do you think though that so many athletes came out against Drew Brees because of the timing of it, not necessarily because of what he said?
I think, you know what? I think people came after Drew Brees because Drew Brees is doing to the message what black people got so pissed off about in the very beginning.
Right. But I think I asked that question just because he's been saying it for 4 or 3 years, whatever it's been. So isn't it the timing is just like to not acknowledge it still to this day and at this time is the biggest thing his biggest fuck up?
No, I think that he's re-hijacking the message. And I think that is what the issue is. People are trying to get back to police brutality, but Drew Brees' comments on rewoven it into the flag conversation and into the anthem conversation because that is what separates people. Everyone can watch that video and see that that's police brutality. What everybody can't get with is when you start talking about taking a knee and bringing up disrespecting this country, disrespecting the military, disrespecting the flag. I think that's that's the heart of why people are so pissed off at Drew Brees. If Drew Brees believes that I won't stand because I think it's disrespectful to the flag, that's okay. That's truly okay. But for you to then re-hijack this message that Colin Kaepernick started in the NFL and was really washed out by the president, by politics, by overall white owners, white general managers threatening people's jobs. I mean, there are guys now coming out in the NFL saying, well, I didn't participate in a more larger form because I was afraid I would lose my job. Look what happened to him. Like Eric Reed, for instance. Eric Reed stood by his side the entire time. Eric Reed's one of the best safeties in the league. You mean to tell me he's not good enough to have a job right now?
Well, but he did. But I mean, but Eric Reed got back into the NFL, even though he knelt side by side with Colin Kaepernick. And why Kaepernick was anointed the leader and the guy who was excommunicated versus a guy like Eric Reed, who not only got back in after suing the NFL and still being outspoken, Eric Reed was still able to work. I thought the Malcolm Jenkins thing was very impactful. I mean, when I see a guy who I know has been an important leader in the community practically bawling his eyes out and telling Drew Brees to shut the fuck up, it's like, now, Burt, you talk about the divide of a locker room. You know, like Brees said what he said, Malcolm Jenkins said what he said, and now these guys are leaders on either side of the ball, and now one guy becomes the leader of the black players, and one guy, you know, becomes the leader, and now you become that it comes into the locker room. It becomes a war in the locker room. And I think that's
and it's unfortunate because again, I don't think Brees by any means is a racist, but again, he's part of the problem that look, you're not burning the fucking flag. I mean, it's one thing if you want to get all patriotic and burn the flag, but you're protesting an idea that's not right. You're not protesting everything about America. And when you say it's police brutality, again, when you start changing that. And I never thought it was effective, the kneeling. I agree with the protest, but if your audience wasn't taking the message, then it's not effective protest to me. And that was the only issue. But Browner's right. It's about the whole country's burning over this police brutality thing again. You don't you fucking say no comment, or you don't say it's not about disrespecting the flag again. You're diluting the problem, or you're creating a fucking diversion again. And
which is why I really didn't think he'd apologize for that reason. Not because I thought that he was going to play this self-righteous thing. I just thought that that's what he believed in. What he believed in was.
He's been saying it for 3 years. Yeah, he's had enough time that.
But it's the refusal to acknowledge the actual point of the protest that everybody's so pissed about. Like LeBron's not pissed about what he said about his opinion. LeBron's like, acknowledge why we're doing it. Like that was the biggest message. Acknowledge what we're doing it for, and stop saying it's disrespectful to the military. When for 4 years people have been saying.
If that's all you can pull out of it is disrespectful to the veterans and the military, then if you believe that shit, you're a fucking idiot. But again, to keep bringing it up, especially when we are at 1,000 degrees and the country's rioting, why would you bring that shit up and try to why would you acknowledge it to this point?